Welcome to Wisdom Woman podcast. I believe that it's in constant change and growth, not in perfection, that we find happiness. In this podcast, I'm going to be talking with top performance professionals about tools, techniques, new ideas on how to develop your communication skills, use your creative thinking, be a team player, manage your tasks like a pro, be motivated, become an expert on relationships, and a problem solver. Everything you need to be 5 stars in all areas of your life. My intention is to help you develop your skills and find balance between your professional and personal life. My name is Betina Pflug, and I hope I can be your trusted advisor. Welcome to another episode of Wisdom Woman, where we delve deep into the lives and lessons of some of the most fascinating figures from around the globe. I'm your host, Betina Pflug, and in today's episodes, we're tackling a universal, intriguing topic: how to measure success in our lives. Today, we're joined by Andrew Jobling, an accomplished author, former professional footballer, and a beacon of well-being. Andrew has just launched his 8th book, The Tears of Joy, and through his journey, he has ignited a wave of mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical well-being with over 30 years of experience ranging from sports to wellness entrepreneurship. Andrew has touched many lives with his books, motivation speaking, and also his mentoring. Today, Andrew will share insights from his personal journey, a journey marked with tremendous highs, such as best-selling books and professional sports career, as well profound lows, including the heartbreaking loss of his mother to cancer. So this mix of experience has led him to discover the true metrics of success and how to live every day with passion, alignment, and joy. I had the pleasure to meet him in person here in Melbourne and learned so much from him. I already started writing my book after his really motivational speak. And so whatever you're looking to redefine your own measure of success or finding a deeper meaning in your daily activities, this episode is for you. Let's learn from Andrew's inspiring story on how believing in your own amazing power can transform our lives. Join us as we explore how to measure success. Welcome, Andrew. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Hey, Betina, what an impressive introduction. You made me sound really good. Thanks for that.
Could you share with us what initially inspired you to start writing books?
Well, it's a bit of a story. I'm certainly not someone as a young kid ever aspired to be an author. It was never something I was good at. It was never something I thought I would want to do or could do. So actually, I call myself an accidental author because it was almost accidental, the decision that I made. It wasn't an accident. I don't believe in accidents. However, it was certainly an unlikely decision I made. My background's sport, as you mentioned. I played professional sports from a young age. That was really all I wanted to do. I just had this vision to be an athlete, to be a professional footballer in Australia. For those that don't know what that is, playing football is not soccer, it's not rugby. I think most people outside of Australia have no idea what Australian football is. So Google it and you'll see what it is. It's crazy, right? So yeah, so I played professional sport for 7 years, and then I got into health and fitness. I was a personal trainer for 15 years. The decision to write a book came out of desperation, if I'm being perfectly honest. I was in a really deep, dark, low place in my life. I was working 80 hours a week in my own personal training business. I had purchased a cafe and for 2 years was working 7 days a week in 2 businesses. The cafe ended up losing a lot of money. I was in a lot of debt and I was in a deep, dark hole, really with no idea how to get out of that hole, working 7 days a week in debt, feeling lost and alone and helpless and hopeless and all the things that we get to at certain stages in our life. And the best question I've ever asked myself is a question that I encourage other people to ask, and that question is not what do I want to do now or what am I going to do now, because I realized that what am I going to do question or what will I do question has got me where I was. I thought I wanted to be a personal trainer. No, I didn't. I thought I wanted to own a cafe. Certainly did not want to own a cafe. So I thought, I'm not asking that question anymore. So I asked myself a very simple question. I said, Andrew, how do you want to live? Because this is not it. How do you want to live? And that question, it was such an amazing question, because what did I just unlocked this vision. I closed my eyes, and as I was sitting there in a pretty dark place in my life, I transcended that moment, and I closed my eyes and visualized a life where I felt good about me, a life where I was impacting other people, a life where I was doing things that were meaningful and really things that I loved, and a life that was enabling me to make money. When you're in debt, all you ever think about is money. I just didn't want to think about it. I wanted to have multiple sources of income, and I wanted to do things that really impacted lives, and I wanted to be happy and love my life. That was pretty simple vision. I think for most people, if you ask them how they want to live, they'd probably say something similar. So as I'm sitting there just visualizing this life, out of nowhere, and I mean out of nowhere, this idea came to me to write a book. And that was the very first moment that I'd ever thought about it. I'd never thought about it before. And for some reason, that idea came to me as I visualized this life. And I look back now and it makes total sense. At the time, it made no sense. Totally illogical decision to make. No background, no skills, no qualifications, no time, no idea of how to do it. But I thought to myself, okay, Andrew, this could be the ticket to that vision. When you're a best-selling author, you'll feel better about yourself. You'll be impacting lives of people you don't know all around the places you'll never go. It'll open doors and unlock opportunities to speak and to coach and to create income and to live this meaningful life. That was what I was after. So I thought, okay, off I went with no idea what I was doing. Off I went. I started writing. And I just found pockets of time every single day. And over a short period of time, I'd written a manuscript. And within 2 years, I'd published my first book. 2 years after that, I was able to retire from personal training, get out of debt. And really, for the last, that was 2006. So really, it was now it's 2024 as we record this. That's 18 years. I've been full time writing books and speaking and impacting lives and podcasting and all the fun stuff. Wow. It all started with that crazy illogical decision to write a book.
I love the question you said, and I did this question for myself when I was starting my first university, but I asked a little bit differently. I asked what kind of lifestyle I want to have. At that time was 1993. I was doing an internship in a Hilton hotel, and after working a whole month in all the departments of the hotel, I concluded, yes, I want to study hospitality, but I don't want to be a general manager of hotel. They don't have a life. I want to have a life. And I ended up graduating in hospitality and running a summer camp for kids. So I was able to pursue the lifestyle I wanted, not following the traditional path. So congrats.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, questions are so powerful. And unfortunately, we ask ourselves the wrong questions all the time. And the thing about a question is when you ask it, you will answer it. If you ask yourself a question, your brain will answer the question. So don't ask the question if you don't want the answer. You know, most people ask the question, oh, what's wrong with me? And when you ask the question, your mind is going to come up with all the reasons that there's something wrong with you. And why can't I ever get it right? Well, your brain's going to tell you why you can't ever get it right. And it's reinforcing the fact that you'll never get it right. So by asking better questions, you will unlock the capacity and the potential that's inside. So if all you get good at is asking the right questions, like how do I want to live, because that'll unlock a vision for your life that you want. If you ask, you know, when you're stuck, and this was another question I asked myself in the midst of COVID, when all of a sudden I'd lost a ridiculous amount of speaking gigs and a ridiculous amount of money, and I spiraled into anxiety and fear and the whole, you know, I think a lot of people did at that stage when they started losing things. And the reason I felt that anxiety and fear is because I was focused on what I was losing, not what was possible. So again, after a little bit of time to really sort of settle into that space, so I asked myself a question. Okay, Andrew, so these things I can't do, what can you do? What are you in control of, and what can you do? And again, the question was bing in my, as soon as I asked the question, I answered it. I can do this, I can do that, I could try this, I could go there, I could do this. And within a very short period of time, instead of just being a speaker locally, I became a global speaker, and I was working with a company that was in Australia, in Asia, in Europe, and I was all around the world in my office, sitting there on my Teams or Zoom screen, whatever it was that they used, whatever platform they used, and I'm talking to people all around the world, and it all came from this question that I asked: what can I do? And so I just, look, that's a really powerful thing, to just ask the right question.
And what I love that we discussed when we met in person is not just the right questions, but the right routines you have in your life. Can you share a little bit about your morning routine and how powerful it is to sharpen you as a professional for your day?
Yeah, well, do you know what? The right routines, again, come from the right questions. It all starts with the same thing. It all starts with getting clarity on what you want. For me to live that life that I want and am living and will continue to live and plan to live, there's a lot of things that need to happen. I need to be healthy. I mean, if I don't have health, then everything collapses. There's nothing that I can do well if I compromise my well-being. And again, tragically, I see people compromise their well-being all the time. I lost my mum 20 years ago to cancer. So devastating for her. She lost her life. Devastating for me. I lost my mum. And so again, when I focused on the life I wanted to live, I thought, okay, so what do I need to do to create that life? Now, the answer to that question is not fun always. To do the things you need to do to create the life you want, it's much easier to just wave a magic wand, bada bing, bada bar, and live the life. The reality is there ain't no such thing as a quick fix. You won't, the answer is not in the casino. The answer is not in the lottery ticket. The answer is not AI. The answer is not, a magic tablet you can take. There's no magic board. The reality is that every outcome we experience in our life, good, bad, happy, sad, healthy or unhealthy, is the result of the habits and the routines we create. That is it. It's not ability. It's not knowledge. It's not talent. It's not intelligence. It's not luck. It's not circumstance. It's not contacts. It's not resources. It is 100% routine. So, the only way I made it to be a professional athlete was I had to create good routines around exercise, training, mindset. To be a professional, to be a personal trainer, I understood if I'm going to be healthy, I've got to create good routines around exercise and good routines around eating. If I'm going to be an author, I've got to create good routines around writing. It's not luck. The fact that I now have 8 books, people go, well, that's amazing. It's not amazing at all. Part of my morning routine is I write for 10 minutes. 10 minutes, 10 pitiful, insignificant minutes. And this is the deal. These things that seem insignificant are so not insignificant. In that, if I remove the double negative there, they are incredibly significant. So that's why my morning routine started. And I won't go through all the details of everything that I do in the morning, but I get up at 4:55, and when my alarm goes off, as much as I would probably rather stay in bed, I get up. And why do I get up? Because it's no longer conscious thought anymore for me. It's now a habit. It's now a routine. It's unconscious. It's a neural pathway in my brain. I've done it. I've got through that uncomfortable period where I'm trying to create the habit. That's the hard bit. And it's now what I do. So my alarm goes off, I get up, and rarely do I feel like getting up, but before I know it, I'm up. And my morning routine includes me prayer, affirmations, focusing on my visions, goals. It includes going out and doing my exercise every single morning by the beach. And we're now obviously recording this, but a couple of days ago, let me tell you, it was not good training down the beach in Melbourne. There was like cyclonic winds, and then there was hail, and we had it all. But I was out there, and people asked me, because I actually had a speaking gig that day, and I was saying, this is what I do. And at the end, I said, any questions? And one guy put his hand up and said, what were you doing out there this morning, you crazy man? And I thought, well, I didn't think about the weather, because it's just what I do. The key, this is what I found. Want success? Make the things that are uncomfortable just what you do. Make the things that will lead you to that success just what you do, and success will happen, whatever that success is. For me to be, I'm 60 shortly, and for me to be healthy and loving my life at this age, it's not about it's not about genetics, it's not about luck, it's not about anything. It's about that routines that I create. So I do my exercise. I always do my writing every morning. Every morning I write out my goals and dreams, my gratitude list every morning. I send messages on LinkedIn and connect with people on LinkedIn every morning. I make phone calls to follow up and to book appointments and to get speaking gigs and clients. So the results I get in my life, and people go, "Oh, you're so lucky." So it's so not luck. It's got
No,
nothing.
it's preparation, isn't it? Preparation plus opportunities equals to
Well,
your.
you do the right. If you do the right work, do the right routines, do it every single day. Don't miss a day. Do not miss a day, because missing a day, people will, and this is a problem. A lot of people think, "Oh, it's just one day. If I miss it, it's not a big deal." They don't understand that that's actually a decision that they've made, which is it starts to create a neural pathway in their brain, which will start to form a habit of putting things off. Now, let me tell you where the habit of putting things off will lead you. It'll lead you nowhere. You know, you can't. It's not luck. You can't haphazardly create the outcomes in your life you want. Daily, tiny, almost insignificant things every day. You know, breakfast. I don't miss a day. Breakfast. The water I drink every day. I got my pedometer. We were talking about steps earlier, Betina, weren't we? And you know, I've got a goal, and I hit that goal every single day. I don't go to bed. The other night I was a little bit behind, so I'm jogging on the spot next to my bed until I hit the goal, so I could go to bed.
I was impressed by that, and because I have the goal of having my 10,000 steps. When you told me yours was 25,000, I said, "Oh my God, I only got 25,000 when I was in a jamboree, a scout event that I was walking every day." I said, "Oh my God, he really walks a lot."
Well, what I do, but I'll give a little secret here. You know, for example, this morning I got up and I did a strength workout. Now here's what most people do. They'll do a set of something, like I was doing some chin-ups and some push-ups and dips. This is what most people do. They do a set, they sit, and they rest for a couple of minutes before the next set.
Uh-huh.
What I do is I jog on the spot. So in between sets, I'm building my steps.
That's a good idea. Yeah, that's a
Of
good idea.
course, I'm spending the time there anyway. When I had a dog, and unfortunately my poor little dog's now in doggy heaven, but you know, people would drive past, see me walk my dog and think I'm a bit mad, because I would be, while I'm walking her, and she loved sniffing and peeing, she did that a lot, and I would stop, I would jog. I'd be jogging all the time, jogging on the spot. I'd be holding her to lead, and I'm going to be out anyway. I'm going to be out for the same amount of time. I can use that same time, that 20 or 30 minutes. I can come home with 1,000 steps, or I can come home with 5,000 steps. It all depends on how deliberate I am about what I need to do, and creating these right routines in my life, making the actions that are going to give me the result. They are the ones that need to become unconscious habit. And if I can get through the uncomfortable period to turn those into unconscious habits, then predictably, the results will come. And we look at people. Olympics are on at the moment, or the Paralympics right now, and oh, they're so lucky, those Olympians. They got so much natural ability. Yeah, what are they doing at 4 a.m. while you're sleeping every day? What are they doing? And whether they feel like it or not, they've just created good routines. Their success is not the gold medal. Their success is getting up at 4 a.m. when they don't feel like it, and training when it hurts and they're tired and they can't be bothered. That's where I believe the true success is the process. It's certainly not the result. The result will happen predictably.
I'll follow your ideas, but people will think I'm crazy because I already walk my dog doing French classes and speaking out loud, speaking French, and I'll be walking on the spot. But that's okay. Just reaching our goals, and the compound effect is huge. What you explain is a compound effect, isn't it?
Massive. Well, that's what it is, the compound effect. I mean, this is the power of a book. I mean, I looked at when I decided to write my first book, I looked at 50,000 words, 50 to 60,000 words, which seemed to me so unattainable. I thought, I can't write 50 to 60,000 words, but I can write a couple of hundred. And so if I can write 200 or 300, maybe 500 words a day, which 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, and I thought, I can do that. Anyone can do that. The only reason you wouldn't do that is because you choose not to, but you could do it. And it's incredible how quickly a few hundred words a day turns into 60,000 words. Well, I mean, you do 500 words a day, and in 100 days, you've got 50,000 words. Well, that's just under 3 months, just over 3 months. And that is the power of small things. You know, you drink an extra glass of water a day, watch what happens. You do an extra 1,000 steps a day, watch what happens. Because it's not building confidence, and then you start thinking about other things you can do as well, because you've been now starting to understand that the process of creating change in your life is not as hard as you thought. It's just one thing at a time, one tiny thing at a time. If you're having troubles with, you know, relationships, why not why don't you give compliments, 5 compliments a day? Send 5 text messages of encouragement a day. Watch what happens to relationships if you do that every day. And that takes, what, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, maximum 5 minutes. If you did a 5-minute meditation every day, see how much calmer you are, and see how much better you are at handling stress in your life. See how much healthier you feel, more energy you've got. These tiny little seemingly insignificant things that we do every day have a powerful effect. But the flip side is hitting snooze becomes a habit. Skipping breakfast, having that extra cup of coffee, eating processed food, reacting to stress rather than responding. All these things become routines, which will all lead you to a result. Now, the question and this is why I come back to the thing we started with. What do you want for your life? How do you want to live? And is what I'm doing right now, is this decision I'm about to make, is what I'm about to put in my mouth, is this decision to exercise, or in this communication with this person, the thing I want to say, if I say it, will it build this relationship or will it destroy? If I put this piece of food in my mouth, will it build my well-being or will it destroy it? And if we can get good at that self-awareness and honesty, I think so many people kid themselves. If you can be really honest, and being honest is hard, and self-aware is hard, because it's the mirror in your face, and you really got to face the fact that, wow, maybe I need to create some change. And we can stop blaming everyone and everything else for the fact that we're not where we want to be, and actually look at the fact that it's the routines that we have that have led us to where we are. And understand it's simple to change, but it's a decision, and you've got to be very deliberate.
It's so powerful looking at the mirror, because you're the only one who can change your life. And you mentioned about your book, The Tears of Joy. What message do you hope to the readers will take away from this book?
That creating any outcome you want is possible for every single person on the planet. That every one of us is good enough. We are good enough as we are. We don't need to change. We don't need to be smarter. We don't need more money. We don't need to be bigger, faster, fitter, whatever it might be. We are good enough just as we are, because the reality is that every outcome we experience in our life, and I talked about routines, but it all starts with a thought. It's a focus. It's mindset. It's where we focus our energy. If I say to myself, I can't do it, excuse me, if I say to myself, I can't do it, then I feel frustrated, or I feel depressed, or I feel anxious, and then I don't even try. Therefore, the result I get is predictable. If I say to myself, you know what, I'm courageous. I can find a way, and I persist. I'm persistent. I'm a persistent person, and I'm pretty resourceful. So I know I can find a way to create that result. And because I'm persistent, I'll keep going till I get it. All of a sudden, now my emotion is excitement or anticipation. And with that emotion, I move into action. So, you know, going back to a decision to write a book, here I am with this vision that got me a little bit excited. Then the idea of a book can help me achieve it. Wow, now I'm really excited. I can feel this excitement. So I got started writing that day. And then I said, okay, I've got to write every day. And it took me a little while to get into the routine, but then I did. And now I write every day, and that's why I continue to write books. But it all comes back to the thought. So the idea of Tears of Joy is that every outcome you experience in your life, is your responsibility. So you take the blame if it's not what you want, and you take the credit if it is. But it all starts with the thought, a belief, or a perspective. So if you can control your thoughts and focus on the things that will move you where you want to go, everything changes. And really, that's the simplicity of the book, is it's just understanding that we can change in a heartbeat by simply changing our perspective or our belief system. Now, that's not always easy to do, but it is very possible. And there's in the book, obviously, there's a lot of strategies in the book on how to do that, how to regulate emotion, how to actually take action when you're an overthinker. And there's a lot of those around, right? Procrastinating. Yeah. I've got to get all the answers before I get started. Well, there's some thoughts and ideas about how you can actually get started without all the answers, because the reality is you'll never have all the answers. The best way to get answers is to get into action. That's what I found. And I knew writing a book, I don't know how to do it. I've never done it, but I know if I start, the process or the path will open itself up for me, and it did. Every day I wrote, I started to understand what I need to do, and every day I took a step forward. And maybe I took a step back, and I stumbled, but I get up and I learn, and I go, okay, well, that doesn't work. Try that, do this, and take another step, and before you know it, you are an expert. Right? Or you're an author, or you're qualified, or you've graduated, or you've got a promotion. And all it is fumbling and stumbling and taking action and learning from mistakes and learning from other people and looking for opportunities. And again, life's a pretty simple thing when we can focus on the moment we're in rather than stressing about, what will happen if, or, that's just what happened then. Forget about the past because you can't change it. Forget about the future because you've got no control over it, and take control of the only day you've got, which is today. So, yeah.
And can you tell us what role has the mentorship played in your career? You mentioned that you have a mentor that helps you right now. And how do you approach mentoring others? Because you're also a mentor, a speaker.
Yep. Oh, look, a mentor's essential. I think anyone that thinks they can do it on their own is, in a caring, sharing kind of way, is crazy. Like, honestly, why try and work something out yourself when someone who's done it before you can help you? Like, to me, it's just makes sense. Like, why would you put in all this, and even as an author, like I was young and ego and I can work it out myself, and I did work it out myself, but I look back and think, well, could have happened way quicker if I'd had a mentor. And so that's when I have a mentor I speak with every single day, and I have more than one mentor. I have, a business mentor, I have a spiritual mentor. So very important. You look at some of the most successful athletes, they all have coaches. Like, even the ones that have made it, they still have coaches. Why? Why would the most successful athlete on the planet have a coach? Why would the most successful business person on the planet have a mentor? Because they don't know it all, and they need someone to bounce ideas off, and they need different perspectives, because when we're in it, we can't see the forest for the trees, right? I mean, that's one of the oldest cliches there is. You need someone that can actually guide you and see things that you can't see. Mentorship is critical. Honestly, it really is. And that's why now that I have become a best-selling author and it's transformed my life, well, then I can help other people do it. I wouldn't be teaching people if I hadn't done it. Same with health and well-being. I'm a healthy, fit, lean 60-year-old. I can teach people how to be healthy and fit and lean if they're willing to listen and act. The teaching bit I'm in control of. The actual action that people take, well, I'm not in control of that. So that's up to them.
What we talk also, I think, was very interesting is what are good KPIs for success? And that's the topic of our podcast. How do you measure success?
How do you measure success? Well, look, everyone measures success differently, don't they? I think the biggest mistake I have made, I'm not going to talk about anyone, but the biggest mistake I have made is thinking success is achievement. Success is, being a professional athlete. That was success for me. And the problem with that kind of success is it's temporary and you can lose it. And I did lose it. I got sacked. In fact, I read about, played 7 years at St Kilda, which, for those that have no idea what that is, St Kilda's a AFL football club in Melbourne, Australia, a national professional team. I actually read about it in the newspaper that I'd been delisted. And all of a sudden, this thing that was holding me up, giving me some kind of self-esteem and identity was stripped away from me. And all of a sudden, I didn't know, I had nothing to stand on. I had nothing, all of a sudden I went from feeling successful to feeling like a failure. And I was never a failure, ever. At no point in my life have I been a failure, and I'm a Christian, so I know that, God created me for a purpose. So, and God didn't create any junk. I know that. I know that I know now my existence is my success and my value, not what I achieve. But I've chased success financially. I've chased success. When I became a personal trainer, body, if I look a certain way, then I'll be happy and validated and successful. And I think it's a mistake to attach success to achievement, any kind of external achievement. I think the success is living a life of authenticity. To me, waking up in the morning, to me, this is how I gauge success, is how I wake up. If I wake up in the morning and my eyes open and I go, oh, yes, I cannot wait another day. Wait for this day to see who I meet, who I can help, what opportunities are going to present themselves, what cool things are going to happen, what fun I'm going to have. That, to me, if I wake up feeling like that, that's success, because it means I'm fulfilled. It means I'm doing things that are meaningful. It means I'm doing things that really fill me, that are unique to me. And someone else might look at my life and go, well, I wouldn't want to do that. You don't have to do that. That's not for you. This is my life. This is how I identify. So, but the reality is, and I've just been doing some corporate gigs recently, and talked about, the greatest measure of, and I called it the measure of, I think this is a measure of well-being as well, not just success. This is a measure of well-being. Most people get their blood pressure done and their body fat and their BMI and all that kind of stuff as a measure of their well-being. That's not a measure at all. All that's doing is telling you where you're at. That's not a measure of telling you where you're heading. And I said to this group of people, I said, how you wake up in the morning is the greatest measure of long-term, is longevity and joy in your life. I call it joyful longevity. That's the greatest measure. If you wake up and you go, oh, no, I don't want to get out of bed, and you're anxious and you're stressed and you don't want to do it, and you hit snooze 27 times, and then you're rushing in the morning, that emotion is doing all kinds of damage in the body. Then the choices we make often when we're running late, the coffee, the skip meals, the processed foods, the alcohol, maybe the cigarettes, the stress that we have through the day, that's shortening our life. It just is. The person that wakes up going, yes, I cannot wait for this new day, they'll get out of bed. They'll do some exercise. They'll have positive emotions of gratitude. They'll have emotions of joy and anticipation of a beautiful day. They'll eat breakfast because they want to be healthy. They'll communicate with people better. They'll handle situations more effectively. They'll make better choices. They will live longer. Look, that's, to me, and I've got no science to back this up, Betina, this is just my crazy idea, that the way we wake up in the morning, and I gave them a rating scale out of 10, 0 to 10. 0 is, oh, I just want to stay in bed and never want to get up. I never want to get out of bed ever again. 10 is, I can't wait. I'm bouncing out of bed. This is the best day, the best life I've got. Now, rarely are you going to find a 0, and rarely will you find a 10. But we're all at some point on that spectrum when we wake up in the morning. And I think if people could just assign a number to it, be real, be realistic, and then go, okay, so how do I now shift along that spectrum so I get closer to 10? That's not only going to affect your longevity, but to me, that's the indication, that my greatest indicator of success. If I wake up happy, looking forward to a new day, excited, knowing I'm impacting lives, knowing I'm doing what God put me on this planet to do, to me, I'm successful. And that's got nothing to do with how much money I've got in the bank, or where I live, or what car I drive, or whether I've got a six-pack or buns of steel.
Wow, I love it. I love it.
I want a six-pack and buns. I want to have a six-pack and buns of steel, Betina, but that's not a measure of success. That's just that's the result of the choices I make because of my success.
Wow. Yeah. I recommend you all to try to buy this book, Tears of Joy, from Andrew Jobling. And also, if you have a company and want to bring an awesome author to motivate, and not so motivate, but give real techniques on how to change their lives and find work-life balance, I think he's the right guy. And then bring us to the close of another enlightening episode of Wisdom Woman. A heartfelt thank you for you, Andrew, for joining us today, for sharing your knowledge, and for getting a coffee with me here in Australia. I hope this podcast will be spread all around the world, in Europe, Brazil, United States. And it's clear that the understanding and defining success on your own terms can significantly enhance your personal satisfaction and also your professional achievements. So measure how you wake up, for sure. Please visit our website listed here on the description of the podcast. I will put also Andrew's website, the link to buy his book. And if you want, you can schedule personal mentoring with him or a personal coaching session with me. That's a really good opportunity for you to redefine success and navigate your journey with an accountable partner. Thank you so much. And remember, with the right mindset and a bit of wisdom, every challenge is an opportunity for growth. I look forward to connecting with all of you in our next episode. Until then, stay motivated, empowered. This is Betina Pflug signing off. Keep thriving and chase your best version of yourself. Thank you, Andrew.
Thanks, Betina.
Thank you for listening to Wisdom Woman Podcast. To hear past and future episodes, please subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast channel. We appreciate your reviews. To give us suggestions for future show topics, please write to us at podcast@witty.tech. If you're interested in having me as your trusted advisor, schedule a strategic coaching session on my website, www.witty.tech.